let's talk about what's going on with the title scene. So we had the Swerve Joe Hangman AEW World Title 3-way as the second to last match of the night at Revolution. What do you guys think, by the way? This isn't on the schedule. What do you think was going on with the fact that throughout the 0 hour, they did keep saying that this was the main event, so that we were like, what the fuck? What are they going to do?
I don't know. What was with that? Because, like, okay, so Swerve had a T-shirt made that said that the 3-way was the main event. And then multiple times, like, all of the dirt sheets went back and forth. And then, during 0 hour, Renee multiple times said the main event. The only thing I can guess is that Tony was backstage and, like, couldn't make the decision and kept running from the decision. And finally, like, during one of the last matches, was like, fuck it, I'm flipping a coin.
I mean, like, I agree. It does make sense because, like, there were so many mixed messages. But then on the other hand, like, with Joe retaining and Sting retiring, like, Sting retiring had to be the main event. So, like, what are we doing? I don't know.
Maybe they felt like being clear about what the main event was.
Oh, like, gave away the ending?
Or I just don't know. Maybe that is it. Maybe it was like that they didn't want people to be like, it's the main event. Like, from the beginning, it's the main event, so it's going to be a happy ending on the front. But
yeah. But I think if I was going to do that, I would have called, because they've done it before where they say, like, this is a co-main event.
Yeah.
I think I would have done that, but not specified which one was actually going to go last. But then that would have left ambiguity in a way that you knew it was deliberate ambiguity.
Right.
Yeah.
Not just
this was just confusing.
It was very strange, and I can't imagine. I think the only thing that makes me say, like, he can't have been calling it on the fly or anything is it's like, well, you could never have done the other order. For what?
Yeah. No.
Like, after having seen what happened, it's like you would have had to be insane to have Sting win. He's not the last thing. He can't do his little Sting retirement speech. Yeah. And then you go into Joe retaining this title. Like, that doesn't work for me, brother.
And honestly, like, the order was so good because those last 3 matches were all so incredible. But, like, for me, it was like after, like, Ospreay Takeshita, like, kicked ass, but then, like, Swerve Hangman was, like, so emotional that it was like, I don't even care about Ospreay Takeshita. I mean, I do care, but, you know, it's just like, and then once we got, like, the Sting Young Bucks match, it was like, oh, I can't even think about anything else that happened because this was so good. You know, like, it just kept itself.
It built in the exact right way. He made the right decision, but I just think this was, like, wildly confusing for no reason.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
Whatever. Okay, so very quickly, we've had this 3-way. Hangman and Swerve still obsessed with each other. Hangman did get his hands on the belt and used it to hit Swerve. Bad cheating from Bad Boy. We had Prince Nana offering Swerve his crown to do some similar cheating. Swerve cast it aside. He said, no, I will not cheat. Hangman did beat up Bryce Remsburg. And Hangman eventually tapped out to Joe with commentary questioning whether he really had to tap out or whether he did it to fuck Swerve over. What did you guys think of the match?
It was so good. They hit the character beats like so well. It was just, the build like went into it too, because it was just like Swerve and Hangman obsessed with each other. Samoa Joe being like, guys, pay attention to me, and like hitting their heads together. Delightful. And you got like a full, like, Hangman beat up 2 refs. He cheated with the belt. Like, he was a very bad boy, and he did get boos for being so bad because, you know, when you throw Bryce comically into the air, like, that's the meanest thing you can do. That pushes people
to their limit. They are gonna boo that.
Yeah, and you got Swerve actively choosing to be good too. So it was like, I like seeing this.
I did like that Mr. Hangman I Work Stiff Page actually did give Bryce Remsburg a black eye.
Sure did, yeah.
But, you know, I have to say, I think Bryce probably saw it coming. I don't think that Bryce was shocked to receive that black eye.
No, and based on his Instagram post, was not at all mad about
pretty
it.
Proud
but it was
of
just
it.
very funny, where I was like, of course. Of course, Hangman loves to work stiff.
Yeah. The thing that I really like going on in this match, I like that they had the setup where Swerve and Hangman both had opportunities to win, but Swerve especially had like an opportunity to win and missed it because he went after Hangman instead. And it's, as I said, when you're so distracted by another man's body, you're not going to be able to win a world title match. And I'm very proud that was true.
We're just predicting wrestling outcomes all over the place.
Honestly, this might have been one of our best. Did we fuck some of them up? Yeah, but I thought we did pretty good.
Pretty good considering. Yeah.
Could have been worse.
Could have been worse, certainly.
Yeah. And then Swerve also, after Joe retained, we got this just beautiful face acting, like really nice, appropriate level of like a man who does just look like, fuck, this is fucking me up. I can't keep doing this, Daniel.
It was great work. And I feel like Swerve earlier, like maybe a year ago-ish, like his face acting was real cartoony and to the back rows. And this was just like the perfect level of like very obvious, but not over the top. And it was like, I feel like Swerve is just, he's really smart and he's always like calibrating what he's doing and he's really like figuring out what works, which is really enjoyable to watch.
It's so nice to watch someone like try stuff out and like grow and change as a performer. Like it's really pleasant when you liked him in the first place and that's true of so many of our faves. I mean, it's like we've been watching Lil OC since he was a teeny little baby. Yeah. Well, he wasn't a baby. He was a grown man and he was quite old actually. He was actually an old man at the time and he's an older man now, but it's just nice if you like them at the beginning and then you get to see like, you know, the stuff that they onboard and who they're choosing to be as a character. It's really great and he's doing a great job with that. So then also at Revolution, Wardlow won the Denny's All-Star Scramble, earning him a shot at the title, which of course Joe later retained. This match sucked. It was so bad. It's really, really bad.
It really sucked. I feel like I don't know anything about match layouts, but watching this one was making me like actively angry. Like it was supposed to be the meat match and there were like 4 meaty men and 4 non-meaty men. So they changed it from the meat match, but then they started out by like throwing all the non-meat out of the ring and then doing a little mini meat match where they were kind of just posing for a lot of it. They were like chit-chatting and
they were actively soliciting meat chants. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this doesn't have the charm of, you know, that one completely, you know, organic one.
You're so aware of the camera and you want the caress of the meat chants so badly that I won't give them to you. And I agree. It did just feel like you were like, what? Who choreographed this? Yeah. What word are you supposed to use?
Probably like, I don't know, but it is choreography, but probably like who laid this out, who structured I don't know.
Who structured the match, whatever. I was like, I don't know what is going on here because at any given time, nothing interesting was happening. I'm sorry to the men except for Wardlow. I'm not sorry to him. Anyway, so then on Dynamite, Swerve opened the show with an in-ring interview with Tony Schiavone in which he was kind of working through this loss at Revolution and he suggested that perhaps his past wicked deeds may have saddled him with some bad karma that could be the reason that he didn't win. Joe came out. We had a back and forth. Undisputed Kingdom interrupted with Adam Cole. Adam Cole, none of this makes sense, so whatever. Who cares? Basically, Tony Khan ended up booking on the spot a match between the Kingdom and Swerve and Samoa Joe, which for some reason Adam Cole wanted to happen. And it's just like that. What are you, a matchmaker? Yeah. Why do you want the rivals to fight? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Right. Having rivals tag together is like, wait, why are we doing that? And then Adam Cole, it was hot nonsense, all of this.
It was hot nonsense. But they did end up having that match immediately. Swerve was big time main character, like really got some great moments to shine. And then afterward, Joe took Swerve out from behind, which was like Swerve earlier had said, like, never turn your back on me. And it's like, baby, then you must take your own advice. But that, of course, that's the beauty of wrestling. A man never can take his own advice.
So true. So
you're always destroyed by the plunder you yourself brought to the ring. So Joe is going to fight Wardlow at Big Business next week. What did you guys think about this promo from Swerve?
The Swerve promo was fantastic until Adam Cole came out. Like, it really hit a lot of beats that I was very interested in, like the bad karma thing, the sort of introspectiveness. Like, we haven't seen Swerve do a lot of like vulnerability, so that was nice to see. And the crowd was like super behind him, which also felt great because I love him and I'm glad they do too.
And it's so nice when you see a crowd really, really enjoying. They're like, oh, we really want to make him feel better. Like, we're getting into it.
I got a little bit distracted during it because someone in our group chat was like, I just saw Rich because Rich from ONR was in the crowd. And so
this was such a great show.
This was such a good show for him to be at. But I did the exact same thing I did when Ann was at Dynamite, where I was like, well, I'm not watching any of the wrestlers. I'm looking at the crowd just to try to see. But
for the true celebrities.
Yeah, it was a fool's errand because I think he was on the other side, like on the hard cam
side.
I
never managed to find him. Yeah.
No, yeah. So, but like I definitely had a moment where I was like, Leah, you like this is great work. Stop looking for Rich. Stop it. I think he did like end up doing a lot of the stuff that we wanted him to do, and I feel much more confident about his face turn.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I had been thinking this past week about like kind of like the natural stages of like figuring out you were wrong about something or making a change or whatever. And I was thinking about, there's a moment, obviously, like when you know that something that you have believed or you have done is wrong, but you don't feel it yet. And so I was kind of playing with the idea. It's like, well, if you look at some of the stuff that was going on in the previous weeks, could you read that onto it? And could you say, like, it's one thing to be able to say, like, maybe I went a little far, but still feel like, but it was justified, was it not? And then another stage to get to the point where it's like, okay, and I recognize that maybe I had this coming because I have done some fucked up stuff in the past. It's interesting because it's like there's other stuff you could do that would be really interesting, that if you leaned into some of the vulnerability that we're asking for even more. And I was thinking about like, yeah, well, why did you do that stuff? Like, did you have to do it, or did you feel like you had to do it because you were insecure? Like that, like if you didn't do it, like you wouldn't be feared or you wouldn't be respected, or that you couldn't win on your own merits when you can win on your own merits. Like there's some of that stuff you could play with. I think I don't fully know still like what kind of face he wants to be. But I loved this. I thought it was great to just explicitly call out, like, you know what, maybe I did things that I am paying for, and I accept that.
Yeah, that's interesting to think about that trajectory, because like in real life, that is a real trajectory where you're like, maybe that was a little bad, and then a week later you're like, yeah, it was like really bad actually, as I'm thinking about it more. I really shouldn't have done that. Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like sometimes you're like watching the performer like figure out their presentation, and it's like and it might be what he's doing, but it's like if he goes even farther down that road as the babyface, like it does really work as like a realistic human I was wrong progression, which is great.
Which is interesting because that's how Hangman was as a babyface. You know what I mean? Like Hangman was like a complicated babyface who sometimes made wrong choices, and his wrong choices haunted him. So like it's interesting. It's interesting the ways that they are rubbing off on each other.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of rubbing off on, do you guys like Swerve's gear?
Yeah, he just had his own face on one thigh and Hangman's face on the other thigh. Just normal
What's our new thing that we're saying? Thanks to James and Rich, we're saying hit them together.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, if we're going to bring that up, I'd like to say to our older brothers at 118 Radio, if you ever say again, I think Swerve should listen to Tunnel Talk, you can go to hell.
It's not allowed, boys. This is not for him.
It is actually illegal for a wrestler to listen to this podcast on account of some of the stuff that we say.
Like, some of the stuff we say is I would love it if wrestlers heard, but other things we say, I think, please God, no, please God, never.
And it's why they're forbidden by federal law. I mean, I think if you check the statutes, you'll find it there.
Access if they cannot access the feed.
If Swerve tried to type our thing into his phone would blow up, and that's a safety measure so that he doesn't have to.
He's not going to want to have to replace that phone.
It would start like a loud alarm, like an Amber Alert style alarm, and then Joe Biden's face actually comes up on the phone. It says, "Swerve, no."
Oh, that's what he's been using his presidency for.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's been good work.
It's going to be a major tenet of the election platform this year, do you think? The wrestlers will continue to be unable to access fan-made product. Anyway.
But yeah, I mean, knowing that Swerve can't hear this, it is crazy that his gear had a bloody picture of Hangman with antlers. Like, what are we doing here? You are doing the most psychosexual stuff.
Yeah, that's some True Detective season 1. That's some weird sex stuff for sure.
Oh, it's a little, Let me just make it really clear. Ate it up with a spoon. Ate it up with a spoon.
Loved it.
I like the container.
Loved it.
I loved every last bite of it. Loved the whole thing. Thank you so much. May I have another? May I have another, please? Thank you so much. Never stop.
When he and Hangman get matching tattoos, or he just gets Hangman's face with antlers tattooed on his body, like, yeah, that'd be okay too.
Got some beautiful kissing pose in this match. I am so excited to see how this relationship in the ring changes as Swerve gets more in touch with his own complicated internal moral compass, and Hangman is in stubborn bull mode. He says, I cannot move on. Hangman's character consistency over the years, it's like the ways that he changes, but every time he changes, you're like, yeah, I know where that's coming from, buddy. Oh, yeah, I've seen that before. That stubborn streak, like the way that like you get fixated on something and it's highlighting something about yourself that you feel discomfort with, which I don't think we know right now, like what exactly that is even, but I think that down the line when he starts coming back out of that deep, dark hole talk, I think that he's going to start to explore, like, what is going on with you there, buddy? What did we trigger? So good.
Yeah, to have like a really actually like pretty nuanced character where you can just turn the dial one way or the other for a very believable like heel or babyface turn, like it's pretty enjoyable.
It's really enjoyable. I really enjoy it.
I have to say, in that respect, no one is doing it like Hangman for me. I mean, he really is like, to me, he is the GOAT of like, it's the same guy. Whether he is a heel or a face, I fully believe it's the same guy and he has the same weaknesses and the same strengths. And it's just that in different moments in your life, they are helping or hindering you.
Yeah.
That's so, oh my God.
Wherever you
That's
go,
so elite.
there you are.
It's so elite. Wherever you go, there you are. Bitch, you hate to hear it.
Yeah.